Hey everyone, and welcome to the second part of the video series in which we're going to make a note app called Awesome Notes. In the first part, we worked on the main page, and in this video, we're going to work on the new note page, in which we will be able to create new note and also edit new note. So this page will do two jobs: first creating and second editing a note. So let's dive into it. So first of all, by clicking the floating action button, we will go to the new note page. So to do that, we come to the floating action button, and here we have the note tab, which is the note floating action button. So in here, we have the onPressed function, and I really want this onPressed function to be a member of the note fab widget. So let's do that and add final void callback of onPressed, and let me see the definition. So it is an optional one, so we can add the optional symbol and then we will accept it in the constructor. So we will make it required this dot on pressed, and now we will pass it in here on pressed. Okay, so here we go to the note fab, and in here we have to pass the onPressed function, and now in here we are, I don't know, okay, there's the const keyword that we have to remove, and now in here we can call to go to the new note page. And the reason that I introduced the onPressed as the parameter of the note fab is that we can use the note fab widget anywhere else if we want to. But if the onPressed was inside here and we just implemented inside here, then it could not be reusable. And now we can use it anywhere and do whatever action we want. In this case, going to the new note page. So first of all, we have to create the new note page. So we come to the pages folder and create a new file called new or edit note page.dart. In here, I want to create a stateful widget called new or edit note page. Okay, and in here we have the scaffold widget, and then the app bar, and in app bar we are going to have a title, and for now the title can be new note. Excellent. And then what else is necessary? So we have two icon buttons at the end, which are actions in the app bar. So we will add the actions, and actions take a list of widget, and in this case we want two icon buttons, and we want to use this specific button again. So first we have to make this reusable, and then we can use it anywhere in the application. So first of all, we go to the main page, and in here we have this button, which is the icon button. So first of all, I want to extract this icon button to a new widget called note icon button outlined. And in here again, I want to change some of the properties. First, I want the onPressed to be passed in the constructor, and then the icon. So for that, I will say final icon data. I just want the icon data, so for that I will call it icon. And the other thing that I want to do is the void callback on pressed. In here I want to add them as required parameters, this dot icon and required this dot on pressed. And now we can replace this with the unpressed coming from the constructor and this icon, which is right from bracket instead of the icon. And we have to remove the const. And now wherever this icon button is used, we have to go there and add the required properties. And first is the icon that I want to paste, the one we cut before, and the unpressed. For now we will leave it empty. So now we have a reusable widget, and one other thing that I want to do is to make it in its own file. So we have to cut this and come to the widgets and create a new file called note icon button outlined, and in here I want to paste this and import the necessary libraries and files. Interesting, we're good to go. So for the main page we have to import the file because it is changed, and now we're good to go. So we come to the new or edit page icon, and in the actions part now we can add these two buttons. So for that I will say note icon button outlined, and we have to import that, and here we go. First thing that I want to add is the icon, and the first button icon is going to be font awesome icons dot pen, and as the unpressed we want to leave it empty for now. And I want to make a copy of this, and as the second button I want to make it, let's say, check, and as the unpressed we want to leave it as it is. So these last two buttons are done, but we have another button which is representative of going back. So for that, the app bar has another property which is called leading, and for this we again want to give it the same button but with a different icon, chevron left. Interesting. So first of all, we have to call this page in the floating action button. So we go to the main page, and here we have the note fab, and now I want to go to the new note page. So we'll write navigator dot push, and now in the route we will give it material page route, and this gets a builder with a context, and now we can specify the page we want to go, which in this case is new or edit note page. Interesting. So now let's hot restart for now and see how that works. So when we click on the floating action button, we are guided to the new note page, and in here something is abnormal, and that is the leading widget. And I don't know if it is a bug in the Flutter or whatever, but when we wrap the leading widget with a padding of 8, then everything solves and looks normal. Interesting. And now we're done with the app bar, and let's come to the body. So we have first a title and then other parts. So we have the app bar, and under the app bar we have the body, and as the body we will give it a column of children, and now we want to add a text field and give it a decoration which takes an input decoration and a hint text of saying title here. And let me show the complete design of this page, and that is this one. So we have different things based on different states, but overall we have this design. So under the text field for the title, we have some information of last modified and created in tags. So this last modified and created part will be only shown if the note is in edited mode. I mean, if this page is in edit mode. If this page is in new note mode, then we have no last modified or created date. Instead, we have just the tags part. So for now, we will add all of them, and then based on the conditions, we will strict them. Interesting. So now we have to add a row. So one for the last modified text and another for the date text. This kind of rows, we have to add 3 of them. So first, under the text field widget, let's add a row of children, and as is the first child, we will give it a text and call it date. Let me see what it is. Last modified. Okay, last modified. And as the second text, we will give it a date, which we will call it 7th of December 2023 and 3:35 p.m. And as the second row, we want to add created, and we want to change something like this. And as the third row, we have something a little bit different. So we have a text and then another small button in here. So for that, I want to wrap this text with another row widget, and after the text created, I want to add another icon button, a small icon button. So we have had this kind of button before, and let me see it in the main page by going back. And here we have, for example, this button and also this button. So we can recreate this button into a general one and then reuse that again and again. First of all, I want to go to the main page, and then where is that icon? And here it is. This is the icon button that I want to reuse. So I could extract this widget, but it is not working because there are some reference to other members in this widget. So for that, I want to copy this code to the end. And now I want to go to the widgets folder and create a new file called note icon button.dart. And in here, I want to create a state list widget for now and call it note icon button. And I want to return the copied code as the return of the build. And in here, again, I want to introduce 2 things. First, an icon, and secondly, an unpressed. And now I want to accept these in the constructor. And then replace this function with onPressed, and also these icons with the icon, and I want to import the library and also import the file. And one other thing that I want to do is to control the size of the icon. So for that I want to introduce a double, and this double can be optional, and name it size, and then say this dot size, and instead of 18 I want to assign it size. Interesting. And now I want to go to the main page again, and now instead of this whole code I want to replace it with note icon button. And as the icon I want to copy this code and replace it in here, and as the onPressed I want to copy this one and replace it with the onPressed. And now we can safely delete this icon, and now we are good to go with a neater code. And now I can copy this code and replace this button with it. And in here again I want to copy this function and replace it in here, and also copy this specific part of the code and replace it in here. And now again we can delete this part, and I think we're good to go. First let's just give it a hot reload and see if anything changes. Now the icon sizes are changed, and now we can safely give it an icon size of 18, because first it was 18. Again a size of 18. And now we're back to the previous state. So now we can use this button and the new or edit page. So first of all I want to go to that page. As you can see we have some text shown on the screen and we will style them, but first of all I want to add an icon after the text created. So for that I will use icon note icon button, and as the icon I want to add font awesome icons dot circle plus, and as the onPressed I will leave it for now. Amazing. What do we have next? So I want to change the text to no tags edit, and let's see how it looks. Interesting. And let's see the design. Then we have a divider after this row, so we will add a divider, and under the divider we have another text field. So for now we will add the internal Flutter text field and give it decoration of input decoration and a hint text of note here. And now let's see how it looks. Interesting. Now let's work from top to bottom and style it as this one. So first of all we have the text field that I want to change. So as the decoration, first of all I want to remove all the borders and anything. So for that we will say border and give it an input border dot none. And other thing that I want to use is this style, and I will give it text style of font size 24, and let's see how it looks. And let's give it a font weight of font weight dot bold. Amazing. And the other thing that I want to do is when we click on this and we start typing, then the text is shown in black color, but this is a little bit lighter than that, but I want to make it more lighter. So for that, we have to go to the input decoration and add a hint style and give it a text style and a color of gray 300. Amazing. And I want the overall column to wrap it in a padding of 8, so it has some padding around the content. And now we have the text part. So first of all, I want to go to last modified text and give it some styling and give it a font weight of font weight bold. And for this text, I want to give the same style as before, okay? And I want to add a color property and give it a gray 500 color. Now let's see how it looks. Amazing. And one thing that I want to do is to make some equal space between all the 3 rows elements. So for that, I want to use expanded, and for the first text, which is the last modified text, I want to wrap this with an expanded and then give this a flex of 3, and I want to wrap this text again with an expanded and give it a flex of 5. So it means that this row is divided into 8 pieces, and the 3 pieces of it is taken by the last modified text, and the remaining 5 pieces are taken by the date text. So let's see how it looks. Amazing. And I want to do the same with this row. So I want to first wrap this with an expanded, both of them. And now I want to give them a flex of 3 for the first one and a flex of 5 for the second. And as the style, I want to copy the first style and place it in the first created text and the second style in the second text. And let's see, amazing. And again, for this row widget, I want to again wrap it with expanded and give it a flex of 3, and this text again with expanded and give it a flex of 5. And again, I want to copy this style and place it inside the text, and also copy this style and give it to the text. Interesting. And now we have the divider, and for the divider I want to give it a new color of gray 700 and also give it a thickness of 2, and also I want to wrap this with a padding of just vertical, so we will give it a symmetric padding, and here a vertical padding of 8. Let's see first of all how that looks. I want to change this color to 500, and now we can use the text field, but in this application we want to use a rich text field, so the user can create, like rich text notes. For example, give it a background color or a foreground color or bullet points, bold, italic, underline, and so on and so forth. So for that, the internal text field widget of the Flutter is not enough. And to do that, there is another package on the pub.dev called Flutter-Quill, and this is a very active package. So this gives us the ability to work with rich text. So first we have to install it. So we have to copy this code and then come back to our editor and open the terminal and paste that code and run it. This will add the Flutter-Quill package to our project so that we can use it later on. So while the package is added to our project, so we will go to the project page and see how that works. So they say first add the dependency, and then we have to introduce something called the quill controller, and then we can use it like this. First of all, we have to provide a quill provider widget at the top of the widget tree, and underneath that we can use the quill editor, which is a rich text field. So the package is added, and now first of all I want to introduce the quill controller, so I will call it late final quill controller. We'll call it quill controller, and let me import this library. And now in the init state I want to initialize the quill controller to quill controller dot basic, and in the dispose method I want to get rid of this quill controller. So for that I will call quill controller dot dispose. So all the resources are freed when we go from this page. Now we have the quill controller, and we can come back to here and add, as stated in here, a quill provider as the parent widget. So I will add a quill provider, and as the configuration we can give it quill configuration, and now we have to introduce the controller. In this case it is quill controller, and as the child we can add the quill editor dot basic. And one thing else that I want to do is to add the toolbar for controlling the text. So to add it under the quill editor, I want to wrap this quill editor with a column, and then I want to add quill toolbar. And now let's hot restart and see how this looks. And let's go to the new note page, and here we go. So here is the quill editor page, and first of all I want this quill editor to take all of the available screen space. So for that I will wrap this quill editor with expanded, so it takes all the available space. And I want to add some configurations, so quill editor configurations, and in here we have to add a placeholder which is the same as the hint text in the text field. So as the placeholder I want to say note here. Now that this is inside the expanded, this will not work unless we add another property to the configurations, which is expands, and we will give it a value of true. And now when we hot reload, this will work, but again there's some layout problems, and that is because when we used expanded inside of this column, now this column should also be used inside another expanded, because this is again inside another parent column. So we want to wrap the quill provider with expanded again, and now this will work. Amazing. So we have the quill toolbar and we have the editor page. So now for example I can write different things, and then let me choose this part, and for example let's colorize that. For example I want to give it a yellow color, and now we have a rich text field. Let's see the design. As we can see, almost everything is the same, but the toolbar is a little bit different. So I want one line toolbar, and I also want to customize the appearance of the buttons and appearance of the toolbar itself, and also limit the number of options that we have in here. So to customize that, first of all, we have to go to the Quill toolbar, and in here we have to add the configurations, and this takes the Quill toolbar configurations class, and in here, first of all, we will say multi-row display. Now it is multi-row display, means these buttons are shown in multi-rows, but I want them in one row, so I will give it a false value, and let's see how this looks. Amazing. Now it is in one row, and now I want to limit all of these buttons to just some of them. So for that, let me go to the Quill toolbar. To limit them, we can say, for example, bold, show bold button, and we can give it a false. And now the show bold button, the bold button will not be shown. Let's see, look at the bold button, and that is gone. So this way we can limit the number of buttons, but I want to hide other buttons, not the bold button. So let's see what buttons are available. So we go to the Quill toolbar code by holding the control and clicking on the Quill toolbar, and now we're guided to the source code of the Quill toolbar. And now in here we have, for example, if show undo is okay, then they show the undo button, and if the show redo is true, then they show the redo buttons. So I want to show some of the buttons and not show the rest of them. So for that, I want to open a notepad, and in here I want to keep track of these parts which we don't want. So for undo we are okay, and for redo we are okay, and for font family, so I don't want the font family, so I will copy it in here. And for the show font size, again, we don't want them. And for show bold button, we're okay. Show subscript, we don't want them. And for show superscript, we don't want that too. And for show italic, we're good. For show small button, we don't want this. And for show underline, we good. And for show strike through, we're good. For show inline code, we don't want that. And for show color button, we're good. For background, good. For show clear format, we're good. And let me see, what else do we have? Show alignment buttons, we don't want that. And for show direction, we don't want that too. And show dividers, we don't want that. And show header style, we don't want that. And for show list number, we're okay. For list bullets, we're okay. For show list check, we don't want that. And show code block, we don't want that too. And again, show dividers, we don't want that too, and that is in the list already. And for show quote, we don't want that. And for show indent, not the thing that we want. And again, for show link, we don't want that. And for show search button, we're good to go. Okay, let's go to the new note page, and in here we can control all of these. So I want to copy all of this and paste it in here, and now I want to choose all of them at the same time, and let me finish this, and I want to add a false value. So now none of these are shown and the rest are shown. So let's check which are shown and which are not. Okay, and now this is exactly what we want. And the other thing that I want to do is to make these buttons a little bit larger and also change the icons. Okay, so for that we have another property which is button option. This takes equal toolbar button options class, and in here we can specify for each button how we want it to look like. So for example, let's start with the undo button. So for that we will give it an undo history. So this represents the undo history button, which takes equal toolbar history button options. And in here, first of all, this is the undo property, and we know this is undo, so we'll give it a value of true. And then we have icon size, and we want to give it 22. And other thing that I want to do is give it an icon data, which in this case I want font awesome icons dot arrow rotate lift. And let's check this out and see how this change its size and appearance. Amazing. So I also want to change the redo. So redo history again takes this same class, and in this case is undo is false, and the arrow rotate left is now arrow rotate right. Okay, amazing. The next thing is the bold button. So we will give it a bold property which takes quill toolbar toggle style button options, and in here again we have the icon data, which is font awesome icons dot bold, and as the size we give it a value of 22. And the other thing is the italic, and again this takes the equal toolbar toggle style button options, and I think these properties can be copied, and the only thing that we want to change is the icon. And the other thing is underline, and this again takes the same class but with a difference of the icon. And then we have strike through, and again that is the same thing, but we'll give it a strike through. And the other thing is the color, which takes equal toolbar color button options, and in here we can give it again an icon data, and I will give it a font awesome icon of palette. And the other thing that is in here is background color, which takes cool toolbar color button options again, and we can give it a new icon called fill drop. And now then we have clear format button, clear format, and this takes equal toolbar clear format button options, and we'll copy these properties and just paste them in here and change the fill drip to text slash. And then we have list numbers, which takes equal toolbar toggle style button options, and again I want to copy these properties and paste them in here. And now I will just change this to list OL. And again, I want to copy this one and say list bullets. And in here, this is changed to list UL. And the final thing is remaining, and that is the search button. And this takes a Quill Toolbar search button options. And again, I want to copy these properties and paste it in here, and just change this icon to magnifying glass. And now I think we're done with the styling, and let's just hot restart. And amazing, this looks pretty much what we want. So and now let's go to the design, and the only thing that is remaining is a drop shadow and also a border around the toolbar, and also a little bit of padding to the horizontal sides. So for that, we wrap the Quill toolbar with a container, let's say, and in here I want to add a margin, in this case edge insets dot symmetric, and give it a horizontal of 16. And also I want to add the decoration property, which takes a box decoration, and give it a color of white, and also a border of border dot all, and again give it a color of primary, and also give a border radius of border radius dot circular, and give it a border radius of 8 for now. And also I want to give it a shadow, and I want to give it one shadow, and let me give it a color of primary again, and an offset of offset 4 and 4 I think will be okay, in the X and Y axes. And let's see how it looks. Amazing. First thing that I want to change is the horizontal padding to 8, and also I want to change the border stroke align, and let's see what this takes. This takes a border side dot stroke align outside. This way this stroke will look much better. Okay, and now the only thing that is remaining is that this container does not clip its content. So I want to go to the container and just add a clip behavior of clip dot hard edge. So now the container clip its children, and it looks fine. And now this is what we want. So I want to extract the toolbar to a new widget, so to make this page not that much filled with code. So I want to extract it with a new widget and call it note toolbar. And I also want to move its code to a new file with the same name as its widget, which is note toolbar. Now I want to paste that and just import the necessary libraries and also files. let me add all the constants, all the necessary constants. And now let's go to the new page again and just import the file path of the Note toolbar. Let me add the constants in here too. And now the next thing that I want to do is to differentiate between the edit mode and the new note. So let me go back to the main page. Now when this note fab is pressed, then naturally the new note page is opened. But if we click on every note card, then this note card should be opened in the edit note page. So to do that, I want to first introduce a new property in the new or edit note page, which is final bool is new note. And I want to accept that in the constructor as a required parameter and call it this is new note. And now we will change different parts of the screen based on this condition. So if it is a new note, so to access this property inside the state object, we will use widget dot is new note. So if it is a new note, then we will show new note text. Otherwise, we will show edit note. And we have to remove the const. And what other thing we have to do is, if it is a new note, then we should just show the tags, not the last modified and created texts. So to do that, we come to the rows. First, this row is for date modified and the other one is for date created. So I will say if widget dot, if this is new note, so I don't want this, so I will say if this is not a new note, means if it is in edit mode, then I want to show this row and also this row at the same time. So for that we have to group them into one widget using the brackets syntax. So we come to the end and just add the 3 dots. And this way, if this is in edit mode, then this will be shown. And what is the other difference? For now, let's do nothing. And now let's go to the main page, and in the note fab is new note is going to be true. And I want the same thing on each note card. So we go to the note grid or note list, doesn't matter, and we find the note card, and in here I want to wrap this with a gesture detector and add the on tap callback and just add the code that we copied, and with the difference of is not equal to false. Now let's hot reload this and see how this works. So first of all, when we click on the note fab, I think we have grouped the tags also. So let me see and go to the note edit in new note page. And let me see, we have the note tags and also this one. I think we added that, so this is going all the way to this part, but we don't want this, so I will remove it from here and end it. Where are you? In here. And also we have to change this created to tags, And now let's hot reload this and see it is shown. And when we go back and click on any note card, then it will open a new edit note page and show the last modified and created. Amazing. The other thing that I want to do in these two modes, which is different, is if it is in a new note mode, then I want the keyboard to be focused in the quill editor. Otherwise, I don't want it focused. So I want to introduce a focus node. So I will say late focus node. Let me also add the final. And in the init state, I want to initialize the focus node to focus node. And in the dispose method, we want the focus node to be disposed to. And now we can add this focus node to quill editor. So that way we can control the focus of the keyboard. Okay, focus node. And now I will say if widget dot is new node. Okay, if that is a new node, then we want the focus node to focus. Okay, let me see how this works. And now when we go to the new note page, then the quill editor gets the focus. But if I click on any of the note card, then there is no focus. Amazing. And now I want to work on this button. So to make it functional, this button is used to control or let's say to switch between the edit mode and the read mode. So once we press this button, then the keyboard is shown. Okay, that's the edit mode. But once we press it again, then the keyboard is moved on and it is hidden, and we're in read mode, so we can read our notes without any distraction of the keyboard. So to do that, we have to declare another variable here, and let me call it late final or not final bool read only. And first of all, when this page is shown for the first time, means when the init state is called. Then if it is new note, means that it is in edit mode, means it is not read only. So we would say read only is equal to false. Otherwise, if this is not a new note, so we will say else read only equals to true. And now, what is this read only variable for? We're going to use this in quill editor, because quill editor itself has also a read only property. So we will just assign that read only to in here. And now we're done with this, and now let's just add the functionality to this button. And let me find the button, and here it is. Now when this is pressed, I will assign the read only the opposite of it. Okay, and then if read only, now here's the magic of removing and focusing the keyboard. Now if it is read only, we want to remove the focus. So I would say focus node dot remove focus. And if it is not read-only, then we would say focus node dot request focus. I think we just made the mistake. This is unfocus. Interesting. Now let's also change the icon based on this read only mode. So if it is read only, then the pen icon is good, but otherwise I will show font awesome icons dot book open. Then I have to wrap all of this with a set state, so the state is changed actually and shown on the screen. So let me hot restart this. Okay, now let's first check the new note button and see how it works. So I click on this, and now we are in edit mode, means not read only, and look at this page means we can switch this to read only mode. Let me see it. Interesting. So the keyboard is unfocused and this icon is also changed, and we can bring it back by clicking this button. Interesting. But there is one thing: if I am in the title text field, okay, then if I click on this button again, then it will not remove the keyboard. That's because we're just unfocusing this focus node, and this focus node is only used in the quill editor text field. So this is just specific for this one. But to unfocus any focus in the screen, then instead of focus node on focus, we have to use something else, which is focus scope, okay, dot of context dot unfocus. And let me remove this one, and let me hot reload this, and now this will unfocus if it is in the title text field or in the note text field. So let me go back. This button is also not working, so let's just keep that in mind and come back to it. So I'll just go back using the back gesture, and now let's open the new note again. And interesting, now I can come here in the title text field and click on this button, and now it is unfocused. Interesting. And but if we open an existing note by clicking it, then it is unfocused and it is in read-only mode already, and we can request a focus by clicking this button. And I also want to hide this toolbar based on the read-only mode. So if it is read-only, I don't need this because I don't edit the note. But if it is not in read-only mode, then it is okay to show this toolbar. So let me find the toolbar. Here's the toolbar. So I'll just add condition and say if not read only, then show the toolbar. And let me see that again. So now when we click on the book button, then the keyboard is also removed and also the toolbar is removed. And when we click it again, then the keyboard is shown and the toolbar is also shown. Interesting. And now the back button is not working, and that's because we have overridden the default back button. So we go to the leading, and now in the unpressed, we just call navigator dot maybe pop. This is the function that is called by the default back button of Flutter itself, so we also have to call it. And now other thing that I want to do is to add some space between the tags and this little small button. So I go to in here and I just add a sized box of width 8. And other thing that I want to do is to change the color of these texts a little bit to gray, Now it is fully black that I don't like. So we come here and assign the color of gray 900. And we can copy this one and come in here and also come in here. And now let's hot reload this. And interesting, now the back button should also work, and it is working. So let me add the constants and everything else, and let's call it a day. And this is for today's video. We have added the new note page and we're ready to work with actual notes. So in the next video we will make the model for the note class, and we will be able to add actual notes using this page, not some predefined dummy notes. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and if you're enjoying this series, hit the like button on each video and subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification icon so you don't miss any of the videos that are coming out. So have a nice time and see you in the next video.